What Radio, the music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
RadioWhat.com.
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming at you live and in living color with another edition of my podcast, What Makes You Famous. This time, recording live at the Faulkner County Library. They were nice enough to let me have one of their rooms, one of their meeting rooms to do this podcast. And funny enough, the person that's on the podcast works at the Faulkner County Library. She's been working there for a while, very talented. She's a creative writer. Her name is Adrianna Nicole Davis. Now, I've seen her around town, her family, every time I do a karaoke show at one of the Mexican restaurants in the Conway, Arkansas area. Her family shows up. I love it. They always make the room feel that much better. They're always so happy. You could tell they're in their family bubble. It feels good when the Davises come to the show. And I've seen them probably more than 5 years now. And I don't know. I know a little bit about Adrianna and what she does, and I know she's very creative, but I wanted to learn more. And thankfully, she wanted to let me know more and let us know more. Thank you so much to Adrianna Nicole Davis for coming on the show. So here we go. Adrianna Nicole Davis, what makes you famous? I believe we're ready.
All right.
Adrianna Nicole Davis in the house. We're podcasting.
Yes.
This is the What Makes You Famous podcast. It's not necessarily what makes you famous. It's Radio What, maybe making you a little more famous, getting your word out a little bit more. Tell your story. You know, I've seen you around, and every time I do a karaoke show at a Mexican restaurant locally in Conway, Arkansas, you and your family, they show up, and I love it. Every time I see you, the room lights up. Your whole family's great, just wonderful. You never sing. You have some good.
I do on occasion.
Okay. You have, but hardly ever. Let's go with hardly ever. I'll retract that. Never. Hardly ever. But it's always good to see you. And I've seen you. I've seen you around for it's got to be 4 or 5, maybe more than 5 years now. And it's always nice to see you, but I don't know a lot about you. I know you're an author. I know, painting you in different boxes, compartmentalizing you. You work in the library, and you're good with books, and you're good with people, and you always have a smile on your face. And what more? Where are you from?
Oh my goodness. I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, upstate.
Yes, upstate. Right on the border of the U.S. and Canada.
Okay, like Niagara Falls?
Yep, Niagara Falls. Half of Niagara Falls is in Buffalo. The other half is in Canada.
Okay, all right. I've heard about Niagara Falls. I've seen Niagara Falls in pictures, and they always say the Canada side's better. What's better? Have you been on the other side?
I don't know. I only lived there for the first 3 years of my life.
Okay.
So
okay.
When I say I'm from, I was born there, and I was raised by parents who lived there most of their lives.
Very good. Tell me about your parents, mother and father. What's that situation like? They're from New York?
Oh, they're fantastic. Yes, mom is. Her whole life, minus like a short stint in South Carolina.
Okay.
When she was a teenager.
So New Yorkers, upstate New Yorkers. When you think of New Yorkers, you think of the city. You think of people, hey, I'm from New York. How you doing? A terrible accent. I'm sorry. I to anybody out there, I apologize, but not really. But no, do they speak that way? Do they have an accent in upstate New York?
Just as much as they do in the north. Not. They probably have a little bit less than your traditional New York City accent.
Sure. Okay.
But But you can still tell a difference when you're talking to somebody from New York.
So mom's from New York.
Yeah.
And what did she do up there?
Our family for generations on her side is from there.
Yes.
So she went to school and spent most of her early 20s up there.
Sure. What kind of work did she do? What kind of schooling?
She actually went to school in Idaho.
Oh, okay. Now, how'd she end up in Idaho if she's from New York?
What used to be called Rick's College
Okay.
is BYU, Idaho. So for those who aren't familiar, the Mormon Church has two specific colleges
Okay.
that are LDS run. So there's Brigham Young University,
Right.
it's called, and there's one in Provo, Utah, and then there's also one in Idaho.
Okay. All
And
right.
It used to be called Rick's College, but it is now called BYU, Idaho.
Mormons everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're Mormon.
That's where she, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mom's Mormon.
Yep.
Dad's Mormon.
Yep.
Okay. And what kind of work did Dad do?
Dad did a lot of job hopping. He's been everything from working in a Navy shipyard to construction to
Sure.
factory work.
Sure.
He delivered newspapers and such.
So many different kinds of interests.
Yeah.
Many doesn't like to stay in one place at one time.
Jack of all trades.
Understood. No, I've definitely had a lot of Joe jobs, a lot of hairnets, a lot of name badges in my lifetime. And I think it's because I get complacent in one spot, and as long as I'm feeding the family, as long as I'm putting food on the table and a roof over the head, doesn't matter what job you're doing, right? So it's mostly about the family then. Yeah,
it was all the jobs that he was able to pick up or whatever was just in order to, do what was best for the family. So
Sure.
we moved around a lot because of it. So we would move to somewhere else and he would just pick up another job there.
Very cool. That's all you need is a job to sustain the family. Okay, so family. How many people in the family?
So I do have two brothers and a sister.
Older, younger?
One brother is older.
Okay.
One brother is younger.
Oh, all right.
And my sister's younger. And me and my two brothers were born in New York.
Okay.
My sister was born in Utah.
Utah. Okay, so you did spend some time in Utah. Very cool. Okay, so what kind of work are they doing?
My younger brother Jeffrey is a sales rep for Guitar Center. I think is
that's one of my toy stores.
Guitar place, whatever.
I know Guitar Center down in Little Rock.
Yep.
Now, is he in Little Rock or
no?
Which?
He's in Provo.
In Provo,
or Salt Lake City,
and that's Utah. Okay.
Yeah, he's in Salt Lake. He works in Salt Lake City. He lives in Provo, so he commutes.
Oh yeah, every town I've ever been to, I probably stepped into a Guitar Center for one reason or another to grab some items.
Yep, and he's a sales rep there.
Very cool. All right.
And then my older brother Joseph is between jobs right now, but he is actually moving out there with him.
Oh, fantastic.
So he's going to find something out there and see what he wants to do.
Very cool. So is the whole family out in Utah now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just those two.
Spread out a little bit throughout the states?
Yeah. Jeffrey decided he wanted to, pop off and figure out his own thing.
Yeah.
So, and with Joseph between jobs now, he figured he wanted to do the same. And so they're like, well, let's, you come out here and you can room with me and we'll figure it out.
Very cool. Well, it's nice to have your family tight and you still speak to them a lot. And, family I know family is important to you because every time I see you out in the town, your whole family's with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you leave the kids with anybody and you go off with the husband and do stuff. No, you bring that family with you.
Oh yeah.
It's tight. It's nice.
I love my family. I like spending time with them.
Yeah, very good. Now, I did mention that you work for the library, Faulkner County Library, and full disclosure, we're transmitting live right here from the Faulkner County Library. We're recording this What Makes You Famous podcast, and I appreciate that. I know a couple of Sundays ago, I used John's office because, well, it was Sunday, and we spent like the first part of the podcast talking about I didn't even know the place was open on Sunday. Yeah, the library is open on Sundays. How about that? Read a book. So, all right. Moving on from you moved from New York to Idaho for a little bit to Utah. You were in South Carolina. No, that was your mom.
But we were in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, my brother's in North Carolina. We're from South Florida, but him and his family, they moved to North Carolina, and there seems to be good opportunities there. Because my best friend from high school, he moved from Fort Lauderdale to North Carolina to try to make a way. What is it about North Carolina that people are drawn to it?
I have no idea. I had no control over any of that.
Okay, so you're still a kid.
I was about 7 at that point.
All right, still a kid, and just wherever your parents go, that's where you go.
Yep.
Very cool. So what year was this?
Oh goodness. 1999, 2000-ish.
99, 2000. You're 7 years old, and you're living where?
At that point, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Now, when do you get out of North Carolina, or what were you?
About 2000.
Okay.
We came to Arkansas.
Arkansas. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Right here to Conway or
Mountain Home.
Mountain Home, a little further north.
Yes.
Like Mountain Home. Every time I go there to do weddings or parties or whatever, it seems like it's a very rural, very no city life. Maybe a couple of country stores here and there.
Yeah.
So what do you do in Mountain Home?
Nothing.
Nothing. Ouch, Mountain Home. Ouch.
Actually, you know what? I will give Mountain Home. They actually have a community pool.
Okay.
Which, Conway doesn't have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, Conway used to have a pool, and unfortunately, it's just not there anymore. Yeah. But Mountain Home has a public pool, which is great. That's a nice thing for the kids to do.
Yeah.
And it keeps them out of trouble for the most part. Now, this is you spent your high school life in Mountain Home?
No, we moved to Conway. Well, we stopped in Mountain Home because that's where my dad's sister lives.
Okay.
And so we stopped there on our way, and then we found a place in Conway.
All right.
And we lived in Conway for about 6 years. So I was from like 8 to 14.
All right.
And then
8 to 14.
And then about 14 years old, we moved out to Valonia.
Valonia. Okay. So you ended up going to high school in Valonia then.
Yes.
All right. I'm trying to.
Yeah, we've been everywhere.
Jump ahead here. But yeah, now Valonia is about a half an hour away from Conway. So, and I think their schools do play football and sports against each other. So, Valonia, what's the mascot there?
The Eagles.
The Eagles. All right. So you ended up being a Valonia Eagle. Mm-hmm. And how was high school life in Valonia? Because that's a bit of a smaller town as well. Conway would be 58,000 or so. That's what's on the sign outside of it. Valonia, how many people?
3,000-ish.
3,000. Considerably smaller. Okay. So what is it like growing up, spending your formative years, I guess, your dog years in high school in a smaller town?
I probably would have preferred being in Conway.
Okay.
Sorry,
Valonia. Sorry.
I did not have a good experience in high school. I didn't have any friends. The few friends I did have weren't great.
Oh. Extracurricular activities at all?
Unless you like farming.
Farming. Yeah. Sure. Why not?
No, not much.
Okay.
Not much in the way of things to do. And the bullying is kind of just pushed aside. They didn't really seem to care too much about who was saying what.
So, all right, cut to the chase. You got bullied?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I've had people threaten to kill me. I had people threaten to beat me up. I had a boyfriend who decided to beat me up.
Yikes. What year was this? How old were you then?
I was 16, 17.
Oh. I mean, it's hard enough being 16, 17 to have a boyfriend beat you up. That's not nice at all.
No, it wasn't great.
All right. Just being a small town, small community, you still have to see that person?
Oh, yeah. I saw him every single day until he graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not fun.
So nobody stopped that? Did you report it to anybody?
Yeah, a teacher saw him punch me
And
in the school, and he did nothing.
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 All right,
Not a thing.
teachers, you need to get on top of this.
Now,
Stop that bullying.
I've heard
Okay, go ahead.
that it's gotten better.
Oh, good.
But I
Now,
don't-
what year was this?
So that would have been about 2008, 9, 10.
Okay, so they've had about
Yeah,
10
they've
years
had
to
straighten up.
get their act together. Gotcha. All right.
What it's like now, I don't know.
Sure. All right. So let's get through high school. So high school was not a good experience. No extracurricular activities. Were you writing in a diary at all? Were you journaling? Were you keeping?
I did most of my journaling in way of poetry.
Okay.
And that's kind of what kept me grounded and sane in
Poems. You wrote a poem when? When was your first poem?
Oh, geez. I've been writing poetry since I was a kid. Since
Yeah.
I was like, I guess the earliest I can remember is 8.
Well, that's cool. Do you remember that poem?
No,
Was it simple?
probably.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so maybe your subjects. What was your favorite subject in school?
English.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we get out of high school. Valonia Eagles. All right, leave them in the dust, and you go off to college. Or
Well, so I met my husband my senior year of high school.
excellent.
So towards the last half of my senior year, things got a lot better for me.
Yeah.
Because I had a fiance who loved and adored me and who, encouraged me. And so a lot of people stopped messing with me because he was 9 years older than
Oh yeah.
me. So once they found out that I had a boyfriend who was older, people kind of quit messing with me. And
he's pretty formidable.
He would show up and pick me up from school and everything. So small town, so tongues wag.
Yeah.
So it got around. I actually had somebody from one of the churches call my mom and ask if she knew what I was doing.
Oh, okay. That you were dating a guy that was 9 years older.
Yeah, which was great because my mom was like, "Yeah, we love him."
Okay.
Like, what's your problem?
So they backed you up, or they
Yes.
backed
For
your
sure.
relationship up.
Oh yeah,
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And you had a protector.
Yeah.
You had some solid backing because hey, tired of getting bullied.
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah, for sure.
So he kind of became my backbone, and he pushed me, encouraged me, and I gained a lot of confidence.
Sure.
From being with him.
What did he push you into doing?
Just whatever I wanted. He
What
said,
did you want?
Whatever you want to do, you do it.
What did you want to do from there?
Leave the town in the dust. This is what I did. Last day of school.
Get out of that one horse town
Last
and
day of
head
school, I
to
moved out of my parents' house and moved in with him.
to where?
Conway.
Right in Conway, right
in
here.
Conway.
Very good.
And so went to college at UCA.
Okay. What'd you study in UCA?
Creative writing
Okay.
and psychology.
Very cool. I think I started in psychology myself. I learned just enough to mess myself up for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Yes. You can do that.
Yeah. I went to Broward College in Broward County, Florida. So yeah, but yes, like I said, I've run the gambit of jobs myself. But okay, so you studied creative writing. Did you do some writing while you were in college?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I kept up my writing. Branched out. I used to just specifically do poetry, but then I branched out and started working on short stories and novels and such. And I even kind of extended further into plays and film scripts.
What? So what was the first thing you wrote in college?
Oh goodness.
And I'm guessing this is for your assignments of sorts. What's an assignment that really sticks out in your mind in school when you were doing your creative writing in college?
I did write the beginning of a novel about a dictator who came into power.
Okay. Anybody in mind when you were writing this, or completely fictional?
No, it was completely fictional at the time.
But did you draw from any experience, or did any of your past accounts?
I kind of was playing around with like Hitler meets Revelations.
Okay, but was it somebody bossing you around that was the inspiration, or just
it
came from your mind?
Just like, what if this happened?
All right,
and kind of.
Well, what kind of delve into the story a little bit? What if Hitler was into Revelations? I guess dealing with the end times, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of along, like a mix of that too.
All right.
Very much focused on survival and packing up, having to leave everything real quick and get out of the city and go out into the country and kind of try to make your way without interacting with other people. And
now, is this something that got published or no? Have you put it on a blog anywhere?
No, I wrote maybe like 3 chapters.
All right.
I should try to find it and see if I can salvage some of it.
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten better.
Sure.
In my writing sense. So, whether I would want to kind of.
Okay. So we move on from the dictator. Where else what other things have you written about?
Since then, I have published 4 books. 2 are poetry anthologies. So I love poetry. I love sticking with it.
Yeah.
April is National Poetry Month.
Oh, so, okay. And we're right here in the middle of April. That's great.
Yep. I've been working on some poems for that.
How cool is that?
And then the other 2, one is a picture book.
Okay.
That I wrote with my son, Lucas, as kind of the inspiration for that. He was a little bit of a bully in preschool.
Oh, okay.
He would, shove people and, mess with people and stuff. And he always wanted to be first. He had to be first for everything.
Yeah.
If he wasn't first in line, he was upset. If he wasn't first to do this, he was upset.
Well, he could be running the White House someday.
Fortunately, he's a lot nicer now.
Okay, all right.
He kind of grew out of that. But I wrote a book based on him, and because we had talked about it, and I was like, well, do you have a lot of friends? And he said no. And I was like, well, why do you think that is? Do people like hanging around with people who are mean to them or who won't like share or take turns? And, so I wrote that book to kind of help him along and, realize that he didn't have to be first to everything and that sharing is okay. And that,
So you've extended your parenting into book writing. So sounds like you gave him good advice. He's doing much better now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, okay, let's back up in your college. Now, you went to UCA for creative writing. Was that a good experience?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Did you meet some people?
Loved it. Everything from my professors. I actually met, I was reintroduced to my childhood best friend.
Okay.
Because she was doing the same program. So we had several classes together.
Wait, childhood from Buffalo?
From Conway.
Oh, okay. So when you were in Conway the first time.
School.
Very cool.
Yeah. And we're still friends today.
What?
So it was good to be able to get reacquainted with her.
Yeah.
And then I actually became friends with one of the kids who bullied me in high school.
What?
Because she had gotten out of that environment, away from those people in the town, and kind of was on her own. And, things change between high school and adulthood.
You know, what's funny is that's very topical because there's people that are getting a lot of flack for tweets and Facebook posts that they did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They're not the same people.
Yes.
They can grow.
Yes.
You can give people a chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have to allow that and grant that mercy and that,
Sure.
Because people can change. It's actually a hot topic of conversation amongst librarians with Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
His earlier stuff, he
Yes.
had some kind of controversial racist cartoons that he did.
Yes.
But what people fail to understand is that he changed as a person between those cartoons and what we know as typical Dr. Seuss, right?
Oh,
so, and then he spent the rest of his life trying to make up for that and trying to, put out positive messages of inclusion and acceptance. And so I think it's very important that we remember that people are allowed to change. They're allowed to, change their opinions. They're allowed to change their minds. The more we live, the more we grow as people. And we need to allow that and not continually hold the past against somebody, because you could be talking to two very different people,
Oh, yeah. You could change your stars. There's stars on ours. Now, Dr. Seuss, the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat has ensured that there will never be a live action Dr. Seuss as long as the Dr. Seuss family owns. Yeah, it was terrible.
Although I did like the Lorax.
Lorax
was pretty good.
Yeah, but Mike Myers, come on, man. You're better than that. You're better than that, son. All right. So, okay, we're out of high school and you're writing books. Your first book was the one.
The Journey series.
And
so that was poetry.
Is that a book that people can find?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yep. If you go on Amazon and you look me up, you can definitely find it.
And we're looking who up? Oh, Adrianna Nicole Davis. That's who we're looking up. How do we spell all that?
Adrianna. And then Davis.
Make sure there's 2 N's.
2 N's, yep.
2 N's.
3 A's, 2 N's, not in a row.
The first book was called what?
The Journey series.
The Journey series, and that's all poetry.
Yes.
Which is very topical for April being Poetry Month. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then where do we go from there?
Then I put out a novel I had been working on for a while called Discovering Melody.
Discovering Melody.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that about?
It is about a young girl who is she is a flautist, and she's kind of the best in her school, the best in her area.
Yes.
And so her band director takes kind of a special interest in helping her navigate the more professional world of music,
right? And
getting her into good college, which she wanted to go to Juilliard.
Okay. Heard of that. Where's Juilliard?
Juilliard is in New York.
Okay. Close to where you were born? No.
In the city.
In the city. Okay.
I think.
All right. So where does Melody go from here?
So she actually, the band director actually takes advantage of being this mentor and sexually abuses her.
No.
And so the book is her coming to terms with needing to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because it gets bad. Of course, it was never good in the first place, but whenever she finally puts her foot down and stands up for herself and reports it.
Yeah.
Of course, this is a man who has influence over her future.
Sure enough. Yeah, that's your teacher.
He's gotten her performances, and he knows so many people, and he knows he could ruin her professionally.
Yes, ma'am.
And so she has to decide whether she's going to accept that and stay quiet, or if she's going to fight for herself and for the others that might be next. So she goes through the book with this dilemma.
Yes. Okay. So this is something that happens early on in her Juilliard career.
Well, pre-Juilliard.
Oh, even before that. Okay.
Yeah, this is before. This is her in high school.
High school.
Mm-hmm. And so, she, of course, I won't tell you what happens.
No spoilers.
But she ends up making her decision, and
sure. And we find Melody.
Yeah, and she discovers who she is and how she wants to live her life.
Now, this is a young adult novel,
yes,
or in that adults. Section.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Very good. Is that what you like to write, or?
Yes, I love young adults.
Okay. Now, after finding Melody, which you can also find on Amazon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. What after finding Melody? What happens?
The Things I Once Knew, which is another poetry anthology.
What year was the first poetry?
So that poetry ranged from 14 to 18.
Oh, so you wrote that in 4 years.
So that was all my yeah, it's 4 years of poetry from being a teenager.
Wow. How many poems?
And then I think there may be a couple more. Oh goodness. How many poems? Probably about 100 or so. What?
You're very prolific.
Something like that.
I think I know one poem in my head that I'm kind of rattling around right now. So that's from 14 to 18. So you say somewhere around 2004. When did you graduate high school?
2011.
2011. Okay. 2011. So then after that, you wrote the Finding Melody. Started in 2011?
No, I actually wrote that. Let's see. I wrote that in, I want to say 2014.
Okay. So it took you 3 years to write that one, to hash that one out and get it.
Let's see. I'm not sure. Let's see. How long did I spend on that one?
Sure.
I think I spent probably a year on that one.
A year. Now, when you say published on Amazon, is this something that you can do yourself, or is that something that you have to take it to a publisher?
Yeah. So there are two different forms of publishing right now.
Sure.
There's what's known as traditional publishing. So that's where you get an agent and you talk to the agent talks to the head honchos, in like New York City and We're talking the big publishing houses,
right?
Random House and Macmillan and all that stuff. And then even the smaller presses,
sure,
because you need agents for some of the smaller houses as well. And so that's where you get an agent and you have a publisher who buys your book from you.
Okay.
And then they sell it and you get royalties from that.
Okay.
After what they do is they, you present your novel to them and they say, okay, I'm going to buy that for $20,000.
Right.
So they pay you $20,000 for your novel. Then you have to make up in royalties that $20,000.
Gotcha.
That gets paid back to the publishing house.
Yes.
And then anything after that gets split between you and the 5 million people who worked on your book for you.
Understood.
Editor, cover, design, formatting, publicist.
That sounds like everybody gets a piece of your creativity.
Yeah.
Now, is that the route that you went?
No.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that route.
Yeah. Now, how did you go?
So I went through self-publishing.
Self-publishing.
Which allows me to retain more rights.
Very good.
As a writer, it allows me to retain more creativity. I also get more, I say I get more royalties.
It's not being pushed as hard.
It's not being split between, 500 different people over.
Sure. But it's also not being distributed or pushed by a publishing company.
Yeah. So you don't really have that backing, which a lot of people are still working on transitioning from thinking that, if it's from a publishing house, it's legitimate. If it's not, it's crap that somebody just put out there. You know?
Right. Well, you can still order a hard book, right? From Amazon. They'll bind it for you and send you an actual book. Now, do you have copies of all your books?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Now, okay. Now we know a little bit about agents and big publishing versus self-publishing. Mm-hmm. And you're self-published on Amazon, I'm guessing?
Yes. So, there used to be an avenue called Create Space.
Okay.
And that's where I went, but they have since merged with Amazon.
Amazon's buying everything.
Amazon's
everything.
Everything.
Now, okay. After Finding Melody, and this is 2014, where do we go from here?
I worked on different stuff. Graduated with my BA in creative writing in 2015.
Yes.
And then kind of shifted gears and worked on my master's of library science.
Excellent. And now, when did you start working at the library?
I started working at the library in 2015. It was
Faulkner County Library.
a couple of months after I graduated from college.
Very good. How'd you fall into this job?
I actually had to do an internship for one of my classes.
Right.
And I did it here.
Yes.
And they decided to keep me.
Now, I did discuss on a different podcast internships. People think, oh, what are you doing? You're working for free. You're not working for free. You're learning. You're gaining knowledge. It's the same thing as if you would have gone to college. It's part of your college. It's part of your schooling. And
You're networking.
Yeah. And you're learning things. So, yes, interning is okay, but don't do it forever. So, all right. So you interned for what, a year?
Just over the summer.
Over the summer.
3 months, yeah.
And then they said, you're too good. Here's a job.
Well, yeah, they had a position open up and I applied. And
fantastic. Now, what's good about working for the library is not only you have all this reference material to keep you filled up with knowledge and keep experiences going through your head, they allow you to write and flexibility?
Not so much, no.
Okay.
Of course, we don't really have the time. We're
Sure.
so busy. There's this like misconception that a lot of people have whenever people hear that I'm a librarian, they're like,
Sure.
oh, so you get to like sit around and read and da-da-da. No.
You got a lot of books to catalog, don't you?
And it's so much more than books. Libraries are community centers now.
Yes.
We're not just you come in and you read and stay in the quiet.
Right.
We host events. We have outreach programs. We bring people in. We have people here who are looking for jobs. We have people here who are interviewing for jobs. We have become so much. And
not library jobs. You're saying other jobs, like coming and
other companies
meeting
will
here.
come. Mhm.
Okay, I get it.
Yep, and they'll use our space in order to hire but we have become so much more than just, and so we're always busy, assisting patrons and making sure that everybody's receiving the services that they need.
Okay. Well, you still find a little time to write on your own time? Okay. Yeah. So after finding Melody, what else did you write?
And then, so I did the things I want to do. And then after that, I published Always on Top, which is the picture book.
Always on Top, a picture book.
Yes.
Now, why a picture book?
I love writing for children.
Okay.
And I'd wanted to do it, but the problem with picture books is that they can get quite expensive to make because you have to have an illustrator. If you don't.
Okay, so you're saying like a children's book, but illustrated. I'm thinking photography.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Yep. This one was illustrated. And I do not draw or paint or any of that stuff.
But you have ideas of what you want.
Yeah.
So who illustrated?
Her name is Tina. And I can't pronounce her last name for the life of me because she's from Sri Lanka.
Okay. Well, I'll try to find it and write it down and maybe put it in the show notes.
She, I found her on Facebook actually, and we were talking and she was willing to work with me. She gave me a very, very low price.
Okay. That's nice.
For her work, which was nice. And it allowed me to kind of go in that direction, explore that area a little bit. Because I mean, when you're talking about illustrations for picture books, of course, the typical children's book is 30 illustrated images.
Sure.
And you're talking $200 to $500 per image.
Okay, I get it. That sounds a bit high.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you knew a friend,
sure,
who did $40 per image, that's still
money. That's still real money.
Still in the hundreds.
Yeah,
just to get the images.
So this is a children's book about animals, I guess, most of the time.
It was about the boy who always wanted to be first.
The boy who always wanted to be first. Yes, based on your little boy. Yes. Always wanted to be first. And now you've taught him well. You've taught him better.
And so, and of course, at the end of the book, he realizes that,
Spoilers.
Yes, he would much rather have friends and, be a kind person than to continue always getting his way.
Yes. So. And he still gets his way sometimes.
Yeah.
Spoil them rotten. So, all right. So after this children's book, what's the name of that book?
Always on Top.
Always on Top. And you can find that on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. After that, what year was this?
That was 2017.
Wow. Very recent.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that the last thing you've written, or where are we at?
Well, that's not the last thing I've written.
No.
I've pumped out another novel.
Since 2017?
Yes.
What do we do?
I actually wrote the entire thing in the month of November.
Whoa. Inspirational month.
November is National Novel Writing Month.
Okay.
And there's a challenge to write a 50,000 word novel in that 1 month.
Tell me you did that.
I did that.
Well, yeah.
It was nuts.
I don't think I write 3 words.
It was insane. It was so hard.
How many words do you have to write in a day, or how long do you have to take?
1,667 words.
Every day.
Every day.
And how much time does that take?
Hours.
Hours.
So it was.
Did you take a month off at the library, or what?
No, that was with working full time, going to school full time,
taking care of a family,
taking care of the family, taking care of the house. Oh yeah, it was incredible. I could not have done it without my husband.
Yeah, shout out.
Push me, yes, for real. He would come in and he's like, "Have you hit your word goal for today?" And be like, "No." He's like, "Well, what are you doing? Go do that.
Get in your corner." Now, do you have a space?
Yeah, I have a library at my house.
Wow. Okay. That's good. He can't have a man cave, but you got the library.
He's got his own, yeah.
He's got a man cave too. All right. So he's got his space.
Yeah, the boys have a sunroom.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay. And this is a man that's been with you since high school and pushing you along and making sure that you get your goals. And he made you do it. So do you think in November, without him, you would have done it?
Oh, no. And I actually, I didn't do it this past November.
Sure.
Of course, I found out I was pregnant in
Mazel tov.
So it is incredible how easily you fall asleep when you're pregnant.
Okay. Well, we could talk about that.
You just if you sit still for 5 seconds, you conk out. Like
in a chair?
Yeah, just anywhere.
So you can close your eyes.
So it was really hard for me to write this past November with that in pregnancy brain. There's just so much that happens to you when you're pregnant.
Sure.
That I never knew was a thing. But it very much is.
Tell it.
So, just memory stuff and brain fog and not being able to concentrate, not being able to think.
Sure.
Falling asleep, not necessarily being productive as you want to, not having the energy or whatever. That's very typical in the first trimester.
Oh, okay.
It's towards the later part of the pregnancy where women can start to function more, as weird as it sounds. Because
you figure you're growing. Absolutely. But I guess in the first part, there's a lot of growing in that baby. Yeah. So your body's really doing a lot of work. Trying and that baby's grabbing nutrients from you and taking all your energy and just sapping you.
Oh yeah.
So, but you wouldn't have it any other way?
Oh no. I'm loving it.
Well, congratulations on the new baby that's coming. And okay, so this novel that you wrote in 1 month of 2017, November 2017, what was that?
It is called Follow Your Heart.
Follow Your Heart. What's that about?
Another young adult novel. It's about this guy. He's in his senior year of high school.
Sure.
It's
about a guy this time.
Yes. Mm-hmm,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's split between 2 characters.
Okay.
The main character, there's a guy main character and a girl main character. And
what do you find easier to write for? Write as a guy or as a girl?
As a girl, it was kind of hard for me to.
How did you do the research to write for a guy?
I talked to a lot of my brother and my husband and stuff, and what traditionally would a guy think in this situation.
Very cool.
To try to get some perspective.
So while you're writing this book, you're expanding your knowledge on people.
On every book I write, I have to do some sort of research on something. So
yeah.
I'm always learning when I'm writing.
So this is a book about a guy and a girl in high school, a senior year, you said?
Yep. And
what were they doing?
He's going through this huge depression because his fiance died. So he'd gotten engaged with his high school sweetheart, and then she dies. And so this is the aftermath. This is him facing his last year in a small town and, trying to juggle moving on and honoring her and respecting her memory and, missing her, and is it okay to let go? And then he meets this new girl who moves into town.
How soon after?
4 months.
4 months. It's trying to overcome this tragedy, and you don't know how long. Yeah, how long do you wait before you can jump into another relationship? And I guess it's got to be different for everyone, right?
Yeah. And when he starts to realize he has feelings for this other girl, he's overwhelmed by the guilt because he loved his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They were gonna get married after high school,
right?
And so it deals a lot with depression and guilt and loss, especially at such a formidable age. And also being a guy, we have this bizarre concept of toxic masculinity, right? Sure. Men are pushed to hide their emotions. They're pushed to suck it up, be a man, man up.
Yeah. Man up. I've heard it all my life.
And, so, and it invalidates those feelings, and, it makes men feel like they're not able to express their emotions.
Sure.
In a healthy way. And that's, where we see a lot of issues with violence and, stuff like that. They're not being able to express their opinions and their feelings and emotions in a positive, healthy way.
So it's frustrating.
So it kind of focuses on that and how he deals with all these emotions that he's going through and learning how to navigate the waters of, losing somebody so close to him.
Yeah.
And navigating his own mental health, and then meeting somebody new, and, maybe it's okay to let go. Maybe it's okay to be happy.
Sure.
Just because she died doesn't mean he did. He still has to live.
Yeah. And the name of this book?
It's called Follow Your Heart.
Follow Your Heart. And get that on Amazon. Find out if he gets the girl.
Not yet. Not yet. It is in the works.
Okay. This is something you're on now?
Right now.
Oh my goodness. This is something it's a scoop.
It's not out
It's
yet.
a scoop. Look for it. It's coming soon.
But they can follow it on my blog.
Oh, okay. So you do blog?
Yes.
All right.
I just launched my blog Tuesday night.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
What's the name of the blog?
It is Artsy Adries Co.
Artsy.
So Artsy, Artsy. Adries, which Adri is short for Adrianna.
ADRI''S.
Well, no apostrophe.
No apostrophe. Okay.
Yeah, so it's ADRIS Co, short for company. So CO. .com.
Okay.
Yep. And I can send you the links for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that on the show notes. Very cool. So now why did you start this blog?
So I've been kind of struggling with wanting to make writing more of a priority in my life.
Sure.
I actually had a breakdown in the fall, late summer, early fall.
Ouch.
And I was like, I pushed everything extra out. I was like, I can't do it. It's too much for me. I can't handle this. But then what I saw when I did that was that, those were things that helped keep me grounded and sane, no matter how stressful they may have been.
You have to have an outlet.
Yeah. So I decided to kind of rebrand and refocus and come back with a more focused, centered way of, getting my stuff out and still doing what I love without stressing myself out. And so I decided that I wanted to start blogging. So my blog focuses on 4 focus points.
Okay, and those are?
Arts, sewing, crocheting, stuff that I do for like stress relief.
Yeah.
And so writing patterns, writing about what I'm doing, that kind of stuff. And then beauty, makeup,
very cool.
hair, fashion.
Full disclosure, she is fully made up right now and looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Got the little glitter on her eyes and smoky eyes. And yeah.
I woke up early this morning.
Oh, well, you got fancy. I should probably start videoing this. Now, I did do a video a long while ago at UCA.
Oh, yeah.
Going over one of your books that at that time. But I started this podcast just because, I've been doing radio for a long time, but and one of my favorite parts of radio is interviewing people and learning more about them. And I wanted to learn more about you. So any other interest you have that you want to put out to the world? You still taking pictures?
Yes, and that was my next one is photography. Of course, I do that mostly as a hobby. I kind of started photography with the idea of catering to more low-income families.
Sure.
Because, photography is expensive.
Yes, it can be. It certainly can be. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket with their phone, but to get a real professional shot, you have to have somebody.
Yeah.
You can't just be a selfie. You have to have somebody take a picture for you.
Yeah, and so I kind of wanted to cater towards people who might not necessarily be able to afford that.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. But still enjoy getting their picture taken or capturing these special moments in their lives. So that's kind of what got me started with that. And now I'm just kind of I haven't really had many photo shoots in the past year or so. Of course, my focus being all over the place.
Sure enough, you got different avenues. I'm
still taking requests from people and shooting my family and other events and
hey, some of my favorite DJ glamour shots are the ones that you took of me. And she came to me. She found me at a show, and she took pictures of me, and I thought that was great. So you'll probably find those on my social media. How do they find you if they want to get some pictures made by Adrianna Nicole Davis?
They can go to my website, artsyadriesco.com.
Are you going to have different links for different avenues?
Mm-hmm. I do.
See, now that is...
You go to my home screen.
Yes.
It'll have artsy, beauty, photography, and writing.
That is the way to do it. And I have everything on one website, and it links out to other websites as well. So anything else you want to talk about, Miss Adrianna Nicole Davis?
I think that covers it. And, of course, the last part of my website being writing. So that's where I'll talk about my books, where you can find links to my books. But also, if you're interested in becoming a writer or putting your stuff out there, whatever, I will have articles on how to, get published, how to do this. If you're considering writing for school and focusing on that for school, I will have articles on that, and I'll have writing prompts and all kinds of stuff. So
sure. Now, besides the artsyadriesco.com, where else can they find you on social media?
Oh yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
What's your Twitter handle?
All over the place. It's artsyadriesco.
Artsyadriesco. Find her. Thank you so much, Miss Adrianna Nicole Davis. Thank you for talking on What Makes You Famous. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dan.
That was Adrianna Nicole Davis on the What Makes You Famous podcast. I learned so much more about this bright young lady. She is so cool. And yeah, her makeup was on point for sure. So if you want some makeup tips, you get them from Adrianna Nicole Davis. If you want to learn how to write creatively, If you want to learn how to talk, don't talk to me. If you want to learn to write creatively, I encourage you, talk to Adrianna Nicole Davis. And photography. If you got a family, you want to have those memories preserved. Have Adrianna Nicole Davis take your picture. Yeah, find her. It's make sure that you check out her webpage at her website, rather, at artsyadriesco.com. I'll put it in the show notes. Easy peasy. Thank you so much for listening to What Makes You Famous. If you want to be a part of the show, give me a call at 501-470-6386 or shoot me an email, info@radiowhat.com. This is Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com for all your DJ needs. Thank you for listening to What Makes You Famous. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. Excavations from Egyptian tombs dating to 5000 BC show that the ancient Egyptian kids played with toy hedgehogs. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, radiowhat.com.
Tweet, yo. Follow Radio What on Twitter at Radio What Twit. Tweet, yo.